Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I am criscrosaplesos, and today we have been blessed with our patch notes for the upcoming Season 3 in Diablo 4. Now, my one-shot build is done. There's no way that it's going to work without the bugged interaction between Condemnation and Tibalt's Will. Without the extra combo points, I doubt we're going to be able to one-shot everything in the endgame, but there are some interesting new mechanics, a change to one of the bows, a change to the precision passive tree, which we'll get into all this here in a minute because we're going to go through all the rogue changes for Season 3. But anyways, please like and subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to be doing content in Diablo 4, probably Path of Exile, and just a ton of action RPGs. Some of them isometric, some of them not. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and get right into this. Okay, so we're in the patch notes here. As you can see, blah, 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 blah. That's all that says. New items, the Pain Gorger's Gauntlets. Very interesting. I have been trying to design a basic only build. I might try and utilize these in that. We shall see. But without the vampiric powers that we had last season, I doubt that that's going to be enough. The 200% multiplicative isn't going to be enough to compensate for that, even though I think that was the exact, no, it was 300% in vampiric powers. Anyways, the aspect of adaptability is new. Again, this stacked on top of the new gauntlets could be interesting, considering it gives basic skills another 80% increased damage when you have full resource, which you should almost all the time if you're casting a basic skill, unless you're doing a full drain and pain type build, where you're draining all of your resource and then using basic skills to bring it back up and then spending it all and you know, back and forth and back and forth. Theme of this video, I guess. Juggernaut's aspect. This could be really big for us if this this armor 1.25, it's 125% extra armor. If this stacks on top of the other armor aspect, having evades cooldown increased by 100%. So basically from 4 seconds to 8 seconds. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal with a rogue, especially because of our attack speed and how high it's going to be getting. And with the right implicit on our boots, it will basically mean that instead of 3 attacks, we're going to have to do 5 or 6 attacks before our evade is back again, which I don't know how dependent we are going to be on our evade this season anyways. The one thing that we were using it for last season was the Unstoppable to proc the Tibalt's Will pants. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this is able to fit anywhere. The changes to the uber unique ring, the Ring of Starless Skies, is interesting. You now do another little bit of damage on top of having your core skills take less resource to cost each iteration. This could be very interesting, but probably not anything that a combo point rogue is going to go with, although combo points is not set in stone in my mind for my one-shot build design. We'll see as the season starts and we get that shit going. Melted Heart of Selig gains 60 maximum resource, which I'll explain why this uber might be better for us than the overpower amulet that we were using last league. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. Especially now that overpower damage has basically the bonus from your extra life and your fortify, all that jazz. It's all halved now. They didn't change any of the percentages on like the gear. Like a two-handed weapon, you can still get up to whatever it is, 142% extra overpower. You can still roll overpower on your gloves, on your rings, on both your one-handed weapons and your two-handed weapons. So if we do end up going full crit overpower for our one-shot, then this isn't going to be that big of a deal, but we might have to utilize Fortify somehow. Hopefully there's something in the new season mechanics that will allow for us to get Fortify as a rogue, because other than that, what we had last season with the vampiric powers, we don't have any way to get Fortify. So if there is, that'll definitely make overpower a little bit more viable for us. The core skill damage changed to movement speed, kind of sucks for us, but good for other people. But the damage while healthy has increased 3 times its normal value, which is could Could be pretty nutty. I don't know. We'll see. Don't care about the barb. If you want me to do videos on all these, I literally will just read through this because I don't know a damn thing about anything other than the rogue. That's my those are my blinders, my dumb horse blinders. That's all I really do is rogue because I enjoy playing the rogue more than anything. And I don't think that I've gotten everything there is to offer out of the rogue yet. And I've been doing almost nothing but the rogue since the beta. Here we go. Roguety rogue. Beastfall Boots. When you cast an ultimate skill, your next core skill consumes all of your energy. All of your energy and deals up to 1.5% increased damage per 1 energy consumed. So we are going to be stacking as much energy as possible. And we are going to be using the newer, the adjusted Paragon node. We are going to be using our ultimate skill, probably Shadow Clone, to benefit our overall damage output on our hopefully overpowered critical. Because of no witness, your ultimate skill gains an additional 10% multiplicative damage from your damage with ultimate bonus. And this bonus is granted to all skills cast for 8 seconds. So we are going to be stacking ultimate skill damage as well as stacking energy so that we can get the most out of this pair of boots. And since we didn't really lock ourselves into any sort of specific pairs of boots last league, except for some resistances, I think that we're going to be okay with this. We're just going to have to find our resistances somewhere else. Probably the Paragon board, since we never grabbed any resistances in the Paragon board last season. Speaking of resistance, the resistant assailants aspect. Breaking concealment grants plus 10 resistance and maximum resistance to all elements for 4 seconds. Killing an elite enemy reduces concealment's cooldown by up to 6 seconds. Now, a level 5 concealment's cooldown, I think, is only like 16 seconds. So basically, if you have 2 ways to go into concealment and come out of it while... no, really only one. If you're in a group of elites, you're not going to kill all of them instantly, especially in the end. So this could be very interesting to potentially bring all of our resistances up to 80% most of the time, especially when killing elites. Blade Shift's damage has had its increased a little bit, and it's got an extra second to it. Blade Shift isn't the most popular basic skill, but again, it does grant you Blade Shift, which makes it a lot easier in endgame to move in and out of enemies so you don't get stuck on them or a corner or something like that, which if you play hardcore, you know that can be a instant death. Fundamental Invigorating Strike. Vulnerable now applies while you are below 85% energy up from 75%. Again, Invigorating Strike is not something that I use as a basic skill. I'm a puncture boy all the way. That sounded weird, but also kind of a cool band name. This is going to be big for us because now not only do they take a double the amount of damage the second any enemy steps into it, but it will increase by 5 seconds from that 10%. So basically, we're getting a base 5% damage increase for enemies that are in our caltrops, and then it will go up. Then it will go up 5% increases from there. Very, very nice for bosses, especially if we throw down our caltrops first and do a bunch of other jazz like we did with our build last league. And by the time we end up doing our one shot on them, they're taking 25, 30, 40% multiplicative extra damage just because they've been standing in our caltrops. And I believe caltrops lasts 7 seconds. Yeah. So the maximum amount of damage you can get from that is 40% extra. 40% extra multiplicative is good. Actually, it's probably only 30. I don't know if the last second will count for anything. And I wonder if that if it resets if you put another caltrops down. That's something we're going to have to test out. That's something I'm going to have to test out. I keep looking up and to the left and not into the camera because I'm dumb. This is usually where my chat is for my streaming. So, yeah, come stop by the stream sometime. Tell me I'm an idiot. Rain of Arrows cast time reduced by 15%. Never really noticed that it had a long cast time, so I'm kind of confused as to why they felt that was necessary. But I'm confused by 99% of what they do. But I can't complain. Damn it. But I can't complain because I'm still playing the game because I enjoy it. The first wave of arrows now hits closer to the player. Interesting. Didn't know that needed to be a fix. Cold Imbuement. The chill amount is increased by 5% per rank. up from 2.5%. So we're going to get up to 25% chill amount. And another, blended cold imbuement. Remove the critical strike requirement. So now it's just a lucky hit instead of a critical strike lucky hit. And the lucky hit chance from 20 to 35. So now you have a base lucky hit chance of 35% to instantly freeze enemies with cold imbuement. That could be really big, especially since, as I'm going to explain here in a moment, we're going to be stacking as much lucky hit chance as we can with this build. It's going to be, I will go over that in a minute. Mixed poison imbuement. This kind of sucks for poison builds. This is a huge hit to the meta of the poison twisting blades. And as you'll see here in a little bit, they nerfed Twisting Blades' aspect itself. So I don't know if it's going to be enough to knock it off the top of the meta pyramid, but well, at least for rogues. But we'll see. Forceful Arrow. Vulnerable damage increase from 3 to 5 seconds. Don't care. Enhanced Penetrating Shot. They shifted things around a little bit. It now has a base 10% additive increased critical strike chance. If Penetrating Shot damages at least 3 enemies, gain 10% more critical strike chance for 5 seconds. So, I mean, it might be good for a penetrating shot clear build, just to get that extra critical strike chance and clear things out quicker. And yeah, so this will just stack on top of that. You're losing this 20% critical strike chance, but you're still going to be able to gain it through the new enhanced penetrating shot, but dealing an extra 10% damage per enemy hit. I wonder how they calculate that. If the last enemy in a row takes the most damage, or if it's like the more enemies you hit on one fire, the next attack does that much more damage. I don't know. And now get ready for it. Bring your tissues out. Here's one of our biggest damage buffs from last season. The amount of damage versus crowd control bonus conversion percent reduced from 40% to 10%. This ruins close quarters combat. It's pretty much worthless now. There's no reason to use it. Not even with a 5% increased attack speed with both stacks. So now you can, instead of 20% increased attack speed, you have 30. Big fucking whoop. Bye-bye close quarters. So that completely eliminates the need for any sort of cutthroat skill, which could be beneficial for us, especially with the changes that they made to precision. I am definitely going to be using precision. Each marksman skill doesn't have to be a critical strike. So each marksman skill grants 1 stack of precision, or 2 if it's a critical strike. When you reach 6 stacks, your next marksman core skill or ultimate skill is a guaranteed critical strike that deals 50% multiplicative increased damage. Now, how that is going to work with Shadow Clone, I don't know. I'm very interested to see. I'm going to do some testing, and we will proceed thusly. And this is the kicker for me right here. This damage is further increased by an amount equal to 15% of your critical strike damage bonus, which we can stack that up almost as high as we got our crowd control damage last league, in between 450, 500%. So this is going to be real big. They increased the chill effect of Chilling Weight, which is the passive skill down below the cold imbuement. The gain to chill effect is very nice. This on top of our chill effect from Paragon node glyphs and everything is going to be pretty nutty, because I think we're going to end up having to use cold caltrops again this season, and I'll show you why when we look at the changes to the aspects here in a moment. This is going to pretty much instantly freeze anything that's not a boss, or at least help make that happen within 1 to 2 seconds. It's going to be crazy. We're going to have some fun this season, even though we might not be one-shotting everything. But then it's really early to tell that. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but this right here and the fix to Balt's Will is it's pretty much cutting the head off of the donkey. That is my one-shot build. So don't worry, we'll figure something out. Concussive. This is a great adjustment that's very helpful for us. It basically is going to give us 4% up to 12% increased critical strike chance after, like, for all enemies instead of just the one enemy that we're attacking after knocking back or knocking them down. So basically, if we use Rain of Arrows and have that leveled up all the way with both the additions to it, we're going to get an additional 12% critical strike chance to enemies that are hit for the second 2 waves of Rain of Arrows. Again, I don't think I'm going to be using Rain of Arrows. This is very interesting, the way that they're changing this up. I don't think it's going to be beneficial for us because I still do think we're going to be using combo points because the benefits of the multiplicative aspects and condemnation and the way that they work together, even without Tybalt's Will, I think it's too much of a damage increase to ignore. But this could go nicely with the changes that came with the ring, the uber unique ring at the beginning. Could be very, very interesting to see how those 2 mechanics work together. And here's what I was talking about earlier. Blade Dancer's aspect. Orbiting blades can now hit each enemy 2 times, reduced from 3. There's a flat 33% damage reduction from your twisting blades right off the bat. But you get a little bit more damage on the back end here with them switching around the way that the blades do damage when they return to you. They just do 20 to 30% more damage per hit when they return to you instead of having to try and distance yourself. So I think Twisting Blades is now going to be a much more close quarters build instead of the hit and run, hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. But that being said, with the change to Leirana's and the change to the Nightless Skies ring, Twisting Blades could be very, very powerful for those 3 hits in a row. And Penetrating Shot could be as well. But yeah, we'll see. Aspect of Stolen Vigor is changed. Now it's each stack of momentum key passive heals you for up to 8% of your life per second and grants you 5% damage reduction. So this will get you a moderate amount of life regen, a little bit more than it used to be. No, exactly the same as it used to be. But now you get, what will that stack up to? 15% damage reduction in addition to that. I don't know that's really going to help out because we already, as a rogue, are going to be stacking so much damage reduction anyways. And once you get past, 40, 50%, you really start getting diminishing returns. You really start getting diminishing returns, so it's just not worth it. Anyways, these 2 right here, these 2 spicy new changes, I'm definitely going to try and use somehow. First of all, they're both now based on the Shadow Imbuement. So you don't have to proc them with any other. You can proc Shadow, Poison, and Cold just by casting Shadow skills now. This is going to be nuts. So it is going to be based on Lucky Hit, both of them. Like I said, so we're going to be stacking the hell out of Lucky Hit, but we get a pretty nice boost from our Lucky Hit chance from Alchemist's Fortune. So this goes up to 15%. So we're going to have a very good time with this because the Lucky Hit chance is not based on anything other than just Lucky Hit. No critical strike, no nothing else. And we start with a base 75%. It is not going to be hard to get these to proc almost all the time, even though there is not 100% Lucky Hit chance anymore. Whatever. We'll deal with it. We'll figure it out. Have a little faith. Okay, so let's just read this real quick. Shadow Imbued skill has a 75% chance to release an explosion that deals up to 0.48%. So that's basically 48% extra cold damage to the target and surrounding enemies, chilling them for 25%. If they were already chilled or frozen. Now, this is very interesting to me, the fact that they specified chilled or frozen. Increase this damage by 100%. So double this damage. That's nuts. And you don't even have to freeze them. You can just chill them. So you can just use this Shadow Imbuement inside of a Caltrops that you have selected with the cold Caltrops, and this is going to obliterate anything that's in there. And this is just even more overkill. Shadow Imbue skills have a 75% chance to create a toxic explosion that deals poisoning damage over 5 seconds to the target and surrounding enemies. If the target was already poisoned, increase this damage by 100% multiplicative. So, what I'm thinking for potentially one-shotting a boss is, since this is damage to the target, this isn't going to be that great since it's damage over time, but we'll see. If I can stack it, if we can stack enough of that, it'll be great. My thought is throw down a Caltrops, or no, throw down a poison trap, throw down a Caltrops underneath the boss, get all that stuff going, do a bunch of other stuff, and then hit him. And hopefully our lucky hit chance is going to proc one or both of these. And that could be huge. And this is going to be huge for clearing nightmare dungeons and Zeers anyways, because it's just going to obliterate everything in your path as long as they're at least chilled or at least already poisoned. It's going to be fun. This is a really, really cool change. Thank you, Blizzard, for doing something nice. The change to Wind Force was not as significant as they made it sound in the live stream yesterday, but the Skyhunter and Eaglehorn changes are very, very interesting. I don't really care too much for the penetrating shot change, although penetrating shot always makes enemies vulnerable, which is very nice. So if you have a nice narrow lineup of enemies, boom, they're all vulnerable. Don't have to worry about that. And every fourth cast bounces off walls and scenery and deals up to 40% multiplicative extra damage. That could be a lot of fun. I don't think that that's going to be enough to replace a two-handed bow or crossbow with the stat lines that we want on them, especially since we're trying to get as much core skill damage or ultimate skill damage and overpower damage and critical strike damage. I don't know if this is enough. The critical strike damage affix value is increased by 100%, but this does not apply to the inherent critical strike damage affix, which the inherent affix changed from damage to distant enemies like normal bows to critical strike damage. So this is going to be just like, I'm assuming, the same kind of percentages that a crossbow has with vulnerable. So, 40 or so percent critical strike damage. So yeah, this could be real interesting. I'm really excited about this. The first strike damage you deal to an enemy is a guaranteed critical strike. That we're not too worried about. Would be very nice for penetrating shot, because every time you fire that first shot into a crowd, every single one of them is going to be hit critically. But when you consume precision casting a skill, which precision can only use all of its stacks if it's a core skill now, which was one of the biggest turnoffs for me of the precision passive last season. But now that it's only core or ultimate skills that use that, super stoked about that. The skill will gain 30% increased critical strike damage, and you gain some energy. So again, gaining energy to try and max out our energy is going to be very nice with one of the new aspects. Yeah, so those are all the changes for the rogue that I think, obviously we've got stuff to work with. You know what I mean? We're not screwed this league, not like poor Twisting Blades builds or sorcerers and druids. Oh my god, if you read through these patch notes, and I'll link them in the description, but if you read through these patch notes for the sorcerer and the druid, they just obliterated those builds. Hopefully we can figure this out and we'll get another one-shot build going for this next season. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of all these changes for the rogue. Let me know what you think of the changes to the other classes that I'm completely ignorant of, because as you can see, I think the highest I've taken anything other than a rogue is, well, I've got a level 8 sorcerer, and I've got a level 36. Oh no, I've got a level 49 sorcerer right there, and then I got a level 46 druid. So I'm getting there. As a content creator, I eventually know I'll have to be making and trying to design builds for all the different classes. But I'm really, really enjoying rogue and the way that it works, so I'm probably going to stick to that for a while. Please like and subscribe if you already haven't. Leave a comment, all that jazz. And yeah, good luck at the season start. I'll give you probably weekly updates, if not daily updates, for the first week of the season on how I feel about what I'm doing. I'll show you what I'm doing, and we'll go from there. So that's gonna be it for this video. See ya.